Good afternoon, good day, good morning, depending on where you are in the world right now. I am with Dr. Nikki, and she has graciously said yes to me to talk about a very dynamic topic. But before we even get into that topic, we're going to talk to Dr. Nikki about what is she up to in this world today. We're in December. So Dr. Nikki, how are you doing?
I'm doing really great. I am right now in Nome, Alaska, and I say I have the best job in the planet. I'm a family doctor working with Native Alaskans in remote Alaska, and I am 4 weeks on and 4 weeks off. So I am kind of in the middle of my 4 weeks working, and when I'm off and working on my projects to, help the world move forward and help families get really connected and doctors to move out of burnout and so on.
I love that. Wow, that is dynamic. We can talk about offline how you were able to broker that deal, but that's fantastic.
I'm
So,
loving it.
in addition to working as a practicing physician in Alaska, what else are you up to in this world? When you're off for the 4 weeks, what are you getting yourself into?
There are so many things I'm doing, but I just recently published a book for parents of teens and tweens. It's called Shut Up and Act Dumb, a parent's guide to staying close and connected to your teens and tweens, and that's doing great. And I have a course, the 6 steps to stop worrying for moms of teens boot camp, and that's going really well. And so there's a lot going on. I'm just, I would say I'm reaching my tentacles out to many places, just trying
Oh my
to
goodness.
possible.
How are you able to do that without hitting burnout, feeling overwhelmed, being exhausted? Tell me, what is your super secret?
It's a great question because, I've been doing this job for 30 years, Claudia. And I don't think that I've ever truly been burned out. And I think part of the reason why is that I've always had a morning routine. And so I'm always doing something for myself that I've gotten really good at and used to doing. And usually my morning routine includes something called a thought download, where I'm really like writing down all my thoughts in the morning. Recently I've added something called a high five habit. So I'm high fiving myself in the mirror, which is pretty fantastic. And I meditate every morning. And I also am, very mindful, doing what we do in terms of trying to feel and sense things completely fully. Like when I brush my teeth, I'm feeling what I'm doing as best as I possibly can in order to get myself out of that mode of thinking too much and worrying too much. So I don't start out the day with a tremendous amount of worry. I actually start out the day, even if it's just short, between 5 and 10 minutes, trying to really work on deciding how it is that I want my day to go.
That is exceptional. I am all beaming right now because with my Facebook community, I have been doing mindfulness hacks, right? And one of the areas we really talk about is having mindful intentions in the morning. And I talk about brushing your teeth and setting the intention for the day. So it's dynamic to hear you mention that. And these are ways in which you are making sure you're not in worry, you're not in stress, and you're able to hit the high ticket items that you're planning and making a bigger impact in the world. That is amazing. Thank you for sharing that as a
That's
key
so
app.
funny that you're talking about that because we didn't even talk about that before the podcast or before this live, and we're doing kind of similar things. So maybe, we're heading in that direction, kind of knowing that that's the way to go and sharing it with people. So that's pretty great.
Absolutely right. You were literally using keywords.
So funny. I've never even heard you on a Facebook Live before. So I was like, this is coming, like we are connected like this, that's so funny.
Yes, I just love it when the stars align because for me, it's more so this month of December, one of the things that I'm focused on is really taking all thought captive. So like making sure we're weeding out the negative thoughts capturing them like your hand on a hot stove. I think you know that very well. And then pivoting to the gift and opportunity that, what are the positive elements, and also focusing on our thoughts, addressing them, digging deeper, finding its root cause, and using our thoughts to craft that which we really want. So dreaming big dreams, right? And thinking it through and writing it down and making an action plan, and see how you come up with these innovative, creative, dynamic ways to get you into that place. So yes, 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 yes. Mindfulness management. I know that's something that you're focused on.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's, kind of mental management and then mental fitness. And I think it's really hard to kind of move into the mental fitness if you're not 100% sure that your mind is thinking thoughts that actually aren't serving you. So sometimes those thoughts could be almost sounding benign in a way. Like you look in the mirror and you're like, oh God, I look tired today, or, oh, I have some bags under my eyes, or whatever it is, and even though these feel like just informational thoughts, like we're just giving out information, truly those are thoughts that continue to etch itself into our brain, and don't serve us in any way in the future. So I'm all about the mind management. I'm all about really like digging deeper and under each thought and wondering why we're thinking it, and then deciding if that thought serves us or not. So that's what I spend a lot of time teaching the people that, I work with to do, whether they be Native Alaskans in the hospital or people that I'm coaching or friends or family. I feel like I'm doing this constantly because this is the bomb. Like this is the game changer, in terms of really shifting things in your life and the future of actually your whole family and everyone's life. And I even think the world.
Oh, absolutely. We're really pacing and cultivating the next wave of what the world would be like and look like and feel like. Like that's a bigger impact we're really trying to cultivate here in our little tribe we got going on with positive intelligence. So, you just said something that caught my attention. I really want to kind of hone in on a little bit. And which was, how just that mindset is a key game changer. So my story as an organizational psychologist, I went through significant burnout episodes over the past 10 years. And 3 years ago was when my family and I made a big shift. We literally uprooted ourselves from where we were up north and came down south to really start pacing ourselves and creating a more family-friendly lifestyle to, one, get me out of burnout, to be more present with our children and in our relationships. So that was a big shift. So in the past 3 years, I've been focusing on, one, recovering myself from burnout, and two, really trying to decipher what is burnout. What are some key elements within burnout that's created not only burnout for the first time, but serial burnout episodes. And one of the biggest find I came across is that it's the mindset. Your mind is that major game changer as to, do you fall back into burnout, or do you shift out of burnout and start moving towards sustainable high performance with ease and flow? So that is pretty much what I've been up to in the past 3 years. I say that to say, what would you say to any physician currently? As we already know, we're going through a major pandemic, and our physicians and healthcare providers are getting the brunt of it. Their workload is just immeasurable. We just can't fathom what they're dealing with. And they're sacrificing their health, their relationships with their family and their spouses and their loved ones. And most of all, they've lost their identity in the middle of all of it. Like, what would you say to them if you were sitting with them in a room and talking to somebody who's toying around and playing around with burnout, don't even know it? And what are some key wisdoms you would share?
It's so interesting that you put that word kind of lost themselves in the whole thing in it, with the overwhelm and the burnout. So, I'm always kind of managing my mind around that feeling of overwhelm, because there are things that I do in my life that I could do for 24 hours and never feel overwhelmed because I'm excited. I feel passionate about it. I understand why I'm doing it. Each thing that I do is information and I get to move forward. And I think the burnout happens when you're kind of not in alignment between who you are, what it is you want to do, and what you're doing. And so you're constantly fighting against it. So part of it is actually knowing what you want, how you're taking care of yourself, and how you can align it with the things that you're doing. So that's part of, I don't know if it gives you complete answers, because I think this is just a so much bigger conversation, which I think would be great for us to have, because it seems that we think, we're thinking pretty similarly on all of this stuff, but I don't indulge in overwhelm very much. Like, I take everything that seems like a lot of work to do and I make it into a to-do list. And I just go step by step, and I almost create like some fun in doing it. That's number one. Number two is I'm willing to do B- work. And when I mean B- work, I don't mean that like I'm gonna, forego, finding the right diagnosis for somebody or making sure that somebody's safe. But when I'm doing my charts, I really am very quickly going through it. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not leaving this room until this chart is done. And usually that's done within 2 to 5 minutes. If I have to go back, then maybe I'll go back again. But I'm willing to decide that doing that is not actually important to the big picture of whatever's going on, with what it is I want to do. The other thing is I don't worry about being sued. I've been in practice for 30 years. I've never been sued so far. And I realize that it's the relationships that I cultivate with people and the authenticity that I speak with without the worry and fear that kind of help that to move forward. Now, that doesn't mean that people shouldn't worry about it, but it doesn't actually have to be a worry. I think it's something we can just be intentional about by being kind, thoughtful, intentional, purposeful. I also never jump in the pool with my patients. I work with a very vulnerable population, and I trust in their ability to move things forward and to at least have the power of managing their own mind to keep themselves completely empowered where their circumstance can't change sometimes, or where past has been that horrific and it's been horrible. Like, most of the patients I work with, have a tremendous amount of trauma, historical genocide, present day. And I'm thinking about that constantly, but I also truly believe in their ability to actually manage their own minds when they don't have power over anything else. And if you can trust that and believe that and keep moving people forward, you could stay hopeful.
Wow. 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 As you were speaking, so many books were swirling in my head. So many thoughts were coming to mind. But like you said, we are spot on and in clear alignment in our mission.
Yeah.
And you're serving folks out in the middle of Alaska, and I'm here just really making an impact with those who serve. So I really enjoyed what you just said. So interestingly, part of some of the things that you said is part of my 4C system, right? Which is gaining clarity, knowing who you are, what you're about, and what really matters to you, and where is your brilliance. Number two, cutting out the negative thoughts, the things that are in your mind that are sabotaging you, and moving away from those negative mindsets and into your brilliance. And number three is congruence, like being in full alignment with who you are and shining in your brilliance. Because when you are in your brilliance, you're tapping into ease and flow. That's when you find yourself spending 5 hours doing something you love and not burnt out. And you're like, oh, wait, it's been 5 hours. I still want to do some more. And then the last one, number 4, is commitment, committing to yourself to say, yes, I am a good soil. I will devote my time. I will devote the energy. I will take the steps to make the shift. Right. And yes, whatever it takes, I will put resources into me. Because one of the things that we're learning that, most of the times we servants who serve, we always take care of ourselves last and never first, right? We're taking care of our patients, we're taking care of our children and our spouses and extended family members, and we're always last. even with Christmas gifting, like, do you even buy your Christmas gift for yourself? You're buying for everyone else. So like really making those intentional commitment to pour into you, because your essence is beautiful. You were placed in this world to make a bigger impact, and it's a purpose out there for people, for you to serve. And you can't do it very well if you are overwhelmed, stressed, and burnt out. But you can only do it when you're in your brilliance, when you're flowing and you're able to do it with ease and feel you're fulfilled and you know who you are. So that's my mission in this world, to really reach at least 1 million people in the next 3 years, helping them transition from the state of overwhelm, burnout, chronic stress into their brilliance. I cannot wait to continue the conversation with you, dig deeper, get into our systems, because I love the system, the 6 steps roadmap you have to helping parents, dealing with teenagers. I don't have them yet, but goodness, I'm learning everything I can from you now. So when I do have them, I'll know what
I mean, you don't have to have teenagers. Like the Shut Up and Act Dumb book that I have could be shut up, act dumb with your spouse, shut up and act dumb at work. Like it could. It's just teenagers are the ones that are launching right now, and they are the ones that are going to change the world. But we also have this horrible trope about them. We're like, they're rude, they're impulsive. We say horrible things about teenagers. I know they said horrible things about me while I was growing up, and I just don't believe it's true. So it's really like, I thought if I could catch moms of teens right now, they could completely change the trajectory of the future of the world. Like that's really like the big.
So it sounds like we've already set up our next session, which is going to be physician moms with children.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's your world, right? You've been there.
Oh my God. I could talk days, months, year, like any way in which I could support mom. Teens are great and I love them, and moms are great and I love them, and they get to have each other fully. So, and physicians are fantastic. I mean, who else but to do this work in the world, let me tell you, and for not much, I mean, we do get a salary, but we're not making the big bucks. We are really spending a lot of our time and effort working really hard, for what appears like a lot, because we're the visible component of a very hard system, but really we don't get that much.
Yeah, when you really talk about the slice of the pie, definitely.
Yeah.
You don't get the big bonuses and the executive shares and so on. I completely agree. Totally. And you guys sacrifice the most in all of it, along with the nurses and the healthcare practitioners, and those sacrifices. My heart really goes out to all of our physicians that are really burning both ends of the candle, and really, I want to serve those who serve. That's my mission. So thank you for your time, Dr. Nikki. So good to see you. Thank you for breaking away.
Pleasure.
To align with my East Coast hours, but thank you so much, and God bless.
Thanks.